out there in the world a lot. I know. This has been quite a what's going on with the eclipse moon? Well, the eclipse moon was yesterday, okay, but we are definitely still feeling it a lot, and we don't want to hear that. Okay. So welcome. Come on in. Let's get in the zone. Get ready to channel because we got a lot to talk about, right? I hope you guys are doing well with this energy that I guarantee everybody's feeling right now. Talking about ascension symptoms, talking about realizations, aha moments, epiphanies, big fundamental changes in our world that is literally going to change the foundation of our lives. Now, since the beginning of 2020, right, we've been sort of having like all this stuff that's been happening in the world has really been I don't want to say an attack, but it's been a mix up, an earthquake in our collective root chakra. Okay, a lot of people are having hip issues, and whatever it is that you don't feel safe about in your body, in your life, right? If you don't feel safe in your own skin, if you don't feel safe in life, then it is bringing it up. Because in order for our heart chakra to completely open, we have to have, trust and faith. And essentially, our heart operates from faith, right? Like it's just a knowing. And what happens is we don't trust that knowing, and our body and our mind, the limbic system is overactive, and it activates the fight and flight response, which is essentially a fear response. So if we're operating from this fear response, and let's face it, everyone in this generation, anyone that's like alive right now, has had some level or some form of trauma where we have operated from the fight or flight response. What's up, guys? Thank you guys for joining. I love you back. I love you guys very much. Hell yeah. Most definitely revolutionary times. So this week is the week, right? This is the week where everything comes up. And for those of us that have been doing the work, we're like, okay, we get it. Like enough, like, let's go. But what it's doing is it's picking up and carrying all this stuff. Like there's no way to suppress it anymore. Like we've all had these ways that we distracted ourselves, which we've had to. And if you've been severely avoiding a part of your life or a part of yourself, it's forcing it upon you right now. So there's going to be some probably unhappy or like changes that are just going to feel like, fuck, man, my life is falling apart. But I guarantee it's not falling apart. It's bringing you to a place that you are meant to go, but you're just, it's like we can either go kicking and screaming, or we can go, with our heart open and our arms wide open, like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I, need to learn and accept it. All right. So this week is going to be a lot of things that we have to accept. A lot of feelings, situations, saying goodbye to people that were in our lives, saying hello to new people that, may feel risky or there's sort of feeling of this, like, okay, it's time for me to step up. And you've been waiting for this for so long, but now that it's here, it's like, oh shit, can I handle it? It's requiring 100% of our consciousness to step into this. And not in our lives, not in probably, hundreds of years has it been like this. So the star sees, the way showers, the light workers, the empaths, all of us, are really coming into our own right now. We are essentially in control at this point. And it may not look like that on the outside world right now. Okay. These dark forces will do whatever they can. And the louder they get, they're trying to infuse this fear in us. But the fact is that their fear is just because they're losing. Okay, so remember this. And thank you, DZM. I appreciate you for that very much. I love you. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys saying like how much my messages has been helping, and you guys have been sharing my stuff and subscribing. And I'm so grateful for you guys. I mean, you guys are awesome. All right. I am going to bring up the chart here on YouTube. So if you guys are on YouTube, come check it out. But basically yesterday, we had this total solar eclipse that was massive 23 degrees, which, and Sagittarius rules the 9th house. Okay. This is all about religion and belief systems, all these things about what we believe in like a higher power in this grand in this grand video game that we call life in this world, is really getting expanded. And whenever anything expands, right, there's all this like these disempowering beliefs that are going to expose themselves so that we can face it and go through it. So there's a massive exposure of the parts of our lives that is not working anymore, and we cannot carry to this higher vibration. And so even like coping mechanisms or coping techniques that you may have used before, are just not working anymore. So this is just requires a massive amount of acceptance. Of course, today, December 15th, we have the moon now already in Capricorn. Okay, so yesterday we had this eclipse. Now it brought up this big energy. Now it's going into Capricorn where it has to be structured, maybe dismantled. Okay, now don't forget, tomorrow, okay, we're going to come into where the moon conjuncts Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. And of course, Jupiter and Saturn are sitting at 29 degrees together. Now, the conjunction isn't exact until they both move into Aquarius. What's up, Kelly? And so it's literally carrying us from this Capricorn energy that's been dominant within us forever. And now earlier in the year, I believe it was March, Saturn went into Aquarius for a short period of time. So we got a little taste of that. However, it wasn't with Jupiter at 29 degrees. So this is like taking all the lessons from the last 2.5 years of when Saturn was in Capricorn. And it's so interesting and ironic, right, that the moon is conjuncting Jupiter and Saturn right now, like right before it moves in. So this is like a blast, an emotional blast of seeing. And, Saturn represents control dynamics, right? What up, OC fam? What's up, Robin? Hell yeah. I love your motivation. All these Capricorn issues of control dynamics, right? Of the ways that we build walls as opposed to build boundaries. It's all coming up. It's all getting rewired and twisted around. Yeah, Dale, what's up, buddy? I haven't seen you around, man. I hope you're doing well, bro. And the Sun and Mercury are sort of traveling together as they move into Capricorn from Sagittarius as well. So we have all this Capricorn energy that is just right. And Jupiter with Saturn at 29th degree, as if the 29th degree isn't already intense enough, all right, to learn these last bit of lessons. Jupiter expands everything. It can make it too much. It can make it overwhelming. It can make it very intense. But with that intensity is going to come a massive relief and open it up as it comes in to Aquarius. And finally, we like in March, it gave us a little break. Because I'm a Capricorn, I literally felt the shift. Like my whole life just felt easier, right? And it's about to get there, but not until after this week. So especially, building up to this exact conjunction with, the sun is going to be coming over at 28 degrees of Sagittarius, I'm having a brain fart, ready for some damn relief. I hear you. So we are getting a lot of awareness, a lot of letting go, a lot of shifting, a lot of just deep, intense body stuff is just fucking insane right now. And of course now, hallelujah, we have Chiron direct, okay? Now don't forget, also, we have Mars, this is the 16th, it's going to be at 21 degrees of Aries. So now it's coming out, remember Mars is not a shadow yet. So Mars is that we have redefined who we are as a divine masculine in all men and women, right? This is like redefining how we're coming out in the world, all these new ideas, all these new things that we want to create. What's up, Rose? All these new things that we want to experience and just make happen. We want to make new shit happen, but it's almost like we can't get it fast enough. It's like we still have to sit in it, right? But there's a part of us that's just like breaking out of our fucking body, like, I gotta do it. So this is, this is where there's no really easy way around it. We just got to go through it. And I have no doubt in my mind that all of us can and will do that in a mature fashion. Okay. This is a lot of emotional maturity. And of course, Pluto is back at 23, almost 24 degrees. Okay. So remember, each degree that Pluto moves higher, it's mastering the masterful part of Capricorn in that own way. And that's more on the collective level. So, so with that, you know, it's coming closer to the United States Pluto return. Okay, so that means that, you know, all this stuff, you know, in the United States at least, is it's like we are the ones that are sort of setting the stage for this new world, but it's a revolution, and there's so much that is not known. Okay, probably not going to be known for a while, or at least disillusioned, or we feeling lied to, right, by the world, because there is with Neptune square the nodes, it's like there's misinformation, then there's misinformation for the misinformation, then there's the opposite trying to confuse us to believe that the misinformation is real, or the real, there's other, there is really no straightforward information. And that's why you cannot trust what's going on out there. You have to trust what's in here. And but the good thing is, okay, we went through, you know, this last 6-month cycle with Chiron being retrograde. Now Chiron is direct. So this is like a reaffirmation of like, we've gone within, we've done the healing. Now all the healing that we've done is going to come out to the world in that sense that we are understanding at a deeper level the who am I, right? The who am I, you know, what am I here for? We are all, a lot of us are discovering our life purpose, and really discovering your life purpose is living from your heart, living your true purpose. And with all the shifts and things that we've had going on, I mean, a lot of people are out of work. They're not making money. That, you know, they need healthcare. They have all these things that they've created in their life. Even a lot of people I know that, you know, have had these great lives, right? That upper middle class to middle class, that they've had their shit together and they're doing great things. Their lives are falling apart because now everything that they knew they had a grip on, this control that was functional control, they're now having to create these new ways. And a lot of people are just like, no, like this works. There's a lot of resistance there. And so people like you and I, like, actually have it a bit better in some way. Well, not better or worse, but we're going to have more ease and flow going into this, because we're not coming from that place where, the best analogy I can make is this: like, if you're in a relationship, right, and you have to, and it's like you're just not feeling connected to them anymore, but they're super nice and they just want to make it work. And there's really no thing that you can point out that, like, well, the reason is this. Like, you can't blame it on anything, right? It's just a feeling that you have to honor, and it's like driving you nuts inside. It's making you feel crazy. Going up into that situation, being like, look, I love you, but, you know, I can't be with you anymore. If the situation, like, is easy, that's going to be 10 times harder to address, because there's not something that's pushing you to the point where it's like completely unbearable. And it may be like, am I going to make a mistake? Am I going to make the wrong decision? You start questioning the own integrity of your own heart. So a lot of those situations, if you guys are going through those, that is going to require a massive amount of faith and trust in your own heart, because there is so much confusion right now. The fact is, though, is that this energy is pushing us into that place, which is making it, you know, a little more like, okay, every time you go in to ask yourself, okay, is this right? It's going to be yes. But wait, is this right? Yes. Where before it might be yes, right? It's like it's not as loud, it's not as dynamic. It's there, but right now it is screaming at us. Okay, so we have the 16th. You know, a little bit of the, actually later on the 15th into the 16th, even. And then the 17th, the moon goes into Aquarius. And on the 17th, also, Saturn goes into Aquarius. Okay. So that is beautiful, because pretty soon, I think it's going to take a couple extra days, you know, with Jupiter sitting there, because they're still so close. But it's almost like when you put one leg over the threshold, right? When you have one foot in the next story, then one foot in this story. Then finally, giving it a couple more days, we're going to have the next foot in that next story. Now, I will say that the sun still needs to transit through Capricorn. Okay, so even though we have Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius, we still have the period of time where, you know, the sun is going to conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, and that's still going to be very intense. That's going to be about in the middle of January. But a lot of communication to ourselves is coming in right now. And the communication is going to be so loud and so intense, it's literally changing our DNA. These emotions, we have to accept the emotions that come up. There is no suppressing them anymore. Okay, even if you try to suppress them, it's probably not going to work so well. So, and we also have, actually, let me go back here. We have on the 15th, which is today, beautiful, yay. We have Venus at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. So with Venus coming off of that sextile to Saturn and Jupiter from the 29th degree of Scorpio, that shift from 29 degrees Scorpio to 0 degrees of Sagittarius is also a massive transformation, because that is just very impulsive, very like, that's that just like, ooh, I need it now, right? It's that instant gratification. So that's like a high tendency of like addictive natures. But I will say, you know, I was listening to something today that was saying that the amount of deaths this past year from suicide alone was higher than the amount that they're projecting or, you know, lying to us about, that, you know, people have died from the CVID, right? So that is something we have to take into account. That's a real pandemic, right? With people, you know, like losing their shit. Like a lot of people have all this stuff coming up. They don't know how to, they don't have the support system. They don't know how to handle it. And this, again, why it's so important to get this word out and get people to see and understand, like, well, especially a lot of younger people, right? Like a lot of younger people that grew up in dysfunctional homes. Like they're in this place where their entire family doesn't get, they don't see it, but they feel it, but they don't understand how to make sense of what they're feeling, right? And that can just be so difficult. So, you know, I would encourage everybody, you know, reach out to people, or even volunteer. Like if you're doing this kind of work, volunteer, like to help out some teenagers and stuff. You know, yeah, like a lot of people are like, they're the only person that feels this, but they're suppressed by their peers. And that is the single worst situation that anyone can be in right now. All right. We need support. That's why community is so important. But, you know, you can't go to the mainstream and get connected to this kind of stuff, which is why this type of community, right? This type of, you know, networking, you know, oh, hey, I know this person who knows this person, so let's all connect and get together, right? That is all how we are all connecting and how we're all really doing what we're doing. And I think that, you know, I'm also noticing that there's a lot of people that have been really curious about this work, but it's like I have a couple friends that are flight attendants, right? And they're still doing the flight attendant work, but they're like taking all these classes and, you know, Theta healing and Reiki and learning all this energy stuff because they want to start a business. And I think this next year, we're going to see a massive spike in people that are starting businesses or becoming like sole proprietors and doing this kind of work. And then, you know, like on my level, I'm working to expand so that I can actually have people under me in my team, like, you know, from my opportunity community to also be working as more of a conglomerate, right? So as we grow in strength and power, and as we, you know, work to create these win-win situations, that's the big difference here of the Aquarius age, or the times that we're moving into, right? It's going to be much more of a win-win than it is of a win-lose. And that was the way things were done before. Like, it's a dog-eat-dog world. You have to go, you know, screw other people over in order to get ahead. And that's Pluto's lesson, guys. And Pluto has not reached its peak yet. So we definitely got hit with the massive peak of the Saturn energy. Okay. And now Saturn is also the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So there is still some kind of Saturnian vibe when it comes to Aquarius. But I will say, especially because it rules, the 11th house, and with its square to Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius, a lot of Aquarian energy is going to be like unfolding. Now, what's the dysfunctional aspect of Aquarian energy? The dysfunctional part of it is being aloof or being like disassociative, right? Like emotionally, just nope, sorry, or being very like addiction is very common because there's so much creative energy flowing through. Like the Kundalini energy is so active that a lot of people don't know how to handle it, don't know how to work with it. That's a big reason why I focus so much on talking about sexual energy, because it is so important. And there's been such a taboo. Like, where do people go to discover sexuality? I mean, in school, they're teaching fucking crazy, weird shit. I don't know what the hell these people or where it's coming from, but it is indoctrinating a very twisted mindset, right? So, most people go to porn, right? People watch porn and learn, what people like. But the problem is porn is disconnected. That's that shadow side of Aquarius. It's all physical. There's no emotional. And it's like, let's just, fuck each other really fast. And then, fucking jizz in each other's fucking face and call it a day. There's like nothing before or after that, right? And that's a problem, because then you have this expectation when you get into sex, or even just the idea of sex, or like being with someone, right? It's very limited. So people are so disconnected. It's almost like, like a lot of people won't have sex with lights on. That's sad. You should be able to enjoy each other's body, to really examine and look in each other's eyes and like connect emotionally. But so many people are so shut down emotionally. And that's the thing we have to worry about when it comes to this next level of thought, right? Now, we that have done the work already understand this stuff, but people that haven't done the work, they want to experience this, right? But yes, communication is so important. But in order to be able to communicate with someone else, especially with sex, you have to be able to communicate with yourself. All that shame that's been built in, all that guilt that's been built in to that energy around sex has to be addressed within. And many of us, it's like one quarter of the population has had some kind of like, sexual trauma, or is some kind of shame trauma where they don't feel good enough, or they don't feel pretty enough. They don't feel like they're open enough to like, ooh, exploring that is wrong. Nah, fuck that, right? Communication is everything. So, and that goes with community, right? People that you get around, like people that are exploring their own sexuality, right? Like I didn't start learning this until, my mid to late 30s, until I had an experience with a woman, and it was like I went to a different dimension, and it was like fucking we were like ancient Egypt, like gods just making love in this. It was like constant fucking ecstasy. It was absolutely amazing. So we have to be careful with this stuff, and we have to be open and honest with ourselves first, and surround ourselves with people that are open and honest too. But in order to do that, we have to first see it and understand it. And there's too many people out there still that don't see it and don't understand it. So this energy is bringing all that up, because divine masculine energy, right? With, the Uranus energy that's still in retrograde, we're still discovering Uranus represents that Kundalini energy, and it's in Taurus, which means it's representing our body, our physical body. So there is a massive amount of Kundalini activation going on right now. Okay. Kundalini activation is what wakes you up, and anybody it can happen to anybody at any time. Right. For me, I've had hundreds of them, and I'm grateful for that. But a lot of people, like, even I was listening to one of Phil Good's videos the other day, and he said that he was all medicated up on a bunch of medications, told that he was bipolar, and he still had his Kundalini energy activation that changed everything. Some people, and you can't compare yourself. There's a lot. It's easy to get into the comparison game with this stuff, right? Especially whatever you have going on right now in your life. It's like, well, you had a dream about my anus last night. I'm kidding. That's good shit. So I actually kind of want to talk a little bit about trauma, because we are facing a lot of deeply held childhood traumas right now, right? This is what this activation and ascension is all about. So basically, the way to understand how to deal with and face trauma is through understanding the energies of Saturn, Chiron, and Uranus, okay? Saturn is the control dynamic that we're conditioned to throughout our lives. Chiron is that deep wound that makes us feel like we're not good enough, we're not okay being us. And Uranus is the release or higher vibration that we can attain, but it comes in like lightning, right? Like that aha moment, like that real quick, bam, holy shit, that makes sense now, right? In order to access the Uranus energy, we have to let go of the Saturnian energy. Okay, and this is very real right now because of the strength and the power that Saturn is imposing on us this week. It's going to make us want to control. It's going to make us want to retract. It's going to make us want to put up walls. Okay, for whatever trigger is coming up, and we have to be willing to face that. Look at that from an observational perspective and see, hey, okay, this is where I'm shrinking, and you can feel the energy, right? It's like it's contracting. So whatever makes you feel like, ooh, like coming back, right? Uranus makes you want to go into it, right? So contraction, it could also be related to hot and cold, right? The cold. And then Uranus is the heat. It melts, it expands, it opens up. Now, it's actually really interesting. It's really interesting with that analogy, because what else is very, very cold that's going on right now? Right? I'm going to let you guys figure that out, because there's something that's being transported throughout the United States right now that has to be kept very, very, very cold. That is the antithesis of expansion. Just, energetically, look at that, make sense of it what you will. But with Chiron now gestation to go direct, this is opening up. Okay, we've done an inner work. Now it's time to express the inner work outside for it to come out. Okay, so this week, it's going slowly, but with the moon involved there, with Saturn, Jupiter, and with the moon transiting over Pluto, with Mars coming into its final square with Pluto, and the moon literally being right near there. Okay, this is going to be the most deepest vulnerable shit you can imagine that's going to come up and rear its head to say, hey, it's time to look at that. It's time to deal with it. So you have to be willing to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Go into that place where you feel like going into vulnerability, in my opinion, is the most difficult vibration to go into, because there really is you don't really know how you're going to do it. You just go into it, right? So Chiron is asking us, who am I really at the core? Why am I in this situation in my life? Where am I? Because I am the creator of my reality, right? So why am I creating the reality that I'm in? This is why. Because you've been avoiding that vulnerable feeling, and Saturn has been keeping this control over you. Now, mind you, Saturn's job is to master yourself. It's to make you better. Okay. So we can get caught up in victim mentality and the self-loathing. Why me? Why my life sucks? This is terrible, blah, blah, blah. That's all the Saturnian energy going on. So when we're in that place, we have to be able to step back and say, okay, I see that I'm in this place. I see that I'm feeling sorry for myself. I see that I'm not taking responsibility for something. So, right. Yes, it is a push that you can feel in your body. So how do I let this be okay? And, breath is life. This is where meditation comes in. This is where breath comes in. This is where support systems come in. Okay. Depending on, how intense it's been, reach out. If you guys know of somebody that is feeling this or dealing with something like this, have them reach out to me, have them join the opportunity community. This is what we do. This is my sort of specialty, because I've had to identify this in my own life to overcome my own self-sabotaging ways. I used to sabotage the shit out of myself. Okay. So we have to go into that vulnerable feeling. And when we go into that vulnerable feeling and we feel weak and we feel like we can't go on and we feel like nothing's going to work, almost like you might even feel like, oh my God, I can't live like this. I'm going to die or something. But you know what? You don't die. Somehow you keep going. It's because the ego is struggling to make sense of things that don't make sense. The ego doesn't want to grow. The ego likes safety, right? Want to feel safe. But the problem is that when we create safety from the external world, from other people, places, or things, from external circumstances, we are not safe because we are not trusting our heart. We've trusted outside sources. Whenever you trust or attach yourself to an outside source for validation, because that's what it is, that is an attachment. And it's these attachments that we're beginning to become aware of, like, oh shit, I'm not looking within myself for safety. And if you're having any hip problems, I guarantee you that is one of the things that's coming up, because our hips represent, moving forward in life, right? And the root chakra. So root chakra is getting a whole big, reworking, remaking. So we have to face this Chiron energy. And with Mars also being in Aries, it's the same kind of vibration, right? These are divine masculine, guys. This is about stepping into being, like, for men, it's about learning how to be real men. We don't need this alpha tough guy bullshit, okay? That's fucking old. Who gives a shit how tough you think you are? All right? Who gives a shit if you can intimidate? It's fucking stupid. It's just plain, I don't call anything stupid. That shit's just stupid. And I was that guy many, many years ago, okay? So, like, from a recovering, alpha, I guess you could say. Now, I consider myself to be a leader. I consider myself to be a responsible, leader and a man and a gentleman, right? And we need more gentlemen in this world. And this is teaching us what we need to face or do to become a gentleman. And the more men that step in, I mean, the reason why all this shit is going on, you know, in this world is because they've conditioned, you know, man to be more beta, more like, oh no, I need to explore my divine feminine. Yeah, we did, you know, for a while, but you know, that shit's fucking done. Okay. We have gone through Venus retrograde this year, and that is, I will save this live and I'll actually post it. Okay. So, thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate that. So this is where, you know, we've already done the vetting or the purification of our divine feminine earlier this year. Okay. And I've seen a lot of women stepping up in their divine feminine and divine masculine as well. Right. Is it okay for a female recovering alpha? Well, of course, a lot of females out there are recovering alphas or just alpha. You know, okay, so here's how you know if you're a dysfunctional alpha. Let's just call it that, right? If you are exceedingly independent, like fuck that, I don't need no man, or like I'm a workaholic, I don't have time for, you know, for community or for connection. People that are like super just all about like, I am woman, hear me roar, or, you know, I am man, hear me roar, and I don't need nobody. That is a trauma response, and that needs to be looked at. Okay. You should be able to, because that you're not being vulnerable, right? So it all comes down to being able to be your vulnerable self and facing that within. All right, so look within, be vulnerable, and allow this Chiron energy to teach you, because it's very powerful right now. And with Mars coming into a final square, Pluto is also saying for the third and final time, all right, dude, this is the final part of the purification process of the divine masculine. Interestingly enough, Mars is actually going to be squaring at 23 degrees. That's right on my ascendant. So and in the last 3 months, you know, when Mars was going through this process, when I tore my fucking shoulder. So I have had to learn a massive lesson. I thought I was doing pretty good, but it even leveled me up quite a bit more. And this tear has actually taught me a lot. All right. So everybody has their own way of doing this, guys. Like, you guys can read my ebook. You know, fuck, I forgot the name of my fucking ebook. Understanding the Language of the Human Body. Okay, it's breaking it down and seeing energetically, physiologically, and emotionally what it all means and how to open it up. But this is all about really, like, the body is a subconscious mind. It's teaching us all the time. When you learn how to decrypt, that's what I was looking for, decrypt. Well, when you learn how to decrypt the language of what your body is trying to tell you, then you'll be able to align yourself by listening to it. It's when we deny it, we just try to push. Alphas will also do this. They'll push. I'm tired, but, you know, I'm just going to pop something and just keep going. I'm just going to fight through it. I'm just going to fight. I'm just going to suck it up. Okay. That's that whole military fucking mumbo bullshit. Okay. I was in the military for 10 years. Okay. They push that alpha mentality on everyone. And yeah, it might work for a while, but eventually you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to get stuck. You're going to be fucking miserable. You're going to be, and your mind gets stiff. Your mind does not expand, because the expansion comes from Uranus. So you have to go through this vulnerability first. Then once it's like, and sometimes this can take months, maybe even years, right? But once you finally allow yourself to just be vulnerable, allow the vulnerability to just crack you open, right? It'll dissolve. It'll be like an ego death. It'll dissolve all this shit in you. Then suddenly you just wake up and you sort of have this like surrender, giving up. Like, I used to not really understand the energy between giving up and surrendering or letting go, right? It took me a long time to really understand the energy. Finally, when I did, now I can feel my body when I'm stiffing up or when I'm not letting go. So I adamantly choose to really look for that in every scenario and let go. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes I get it. It's like, okay, cool. Sometimes it takes a while, right? We all get triggered. We're all human. And that's the beauty of being human, learning how to love the imperfections of you. And that's also part of the Chiron energy, because Chiron is our imperfections, the inner Quasimodo, that part of us that we feel that is not good enough or that is broken, right? So this is where we acknowledge our brokenness, because that is the beauty of who we are. And that is also very, very, very difficult, okay, when we choose to make it difficult. Now remember, Mags Sand saying it's hard, okay? It's hard because we choose for it to be hard. And when you can take responsibility of your life like that, that is when you become free. You acknowledge that I'm doing this to myself, okay? I have magnetized these experiences into my life that have created the situation the way it is to teach me how to evolve. And that is how the process goes. And then we activate this Uranus energy. Now, when we activate this Uranus energy, you know, we can, like, I know for me, for a little while, I got like addicted to it, right? I was like, oh, epiphanies, downloads, aha moments. You know, I just want to live in that download place, right? But this energy, the Uranus energy, is not meant to be lived in. It's meant to be tapped into and then integrated into the Saturnian energy. And it's a constant evolution. We're never done with this. We just crossed a threshold where it actually becomes like a flow. All right, we're looking for that flow state. So we activate this Uranian energy, which in Taurus is going to dramatically affect our physical body. All right, so, you know, you may, as you grow, that's why you see a lot of people when they change and they grow, like they change their hair or they change their body and stuff, especially for the last like year and a half to the next 7 years. We're going to be seeing a lot of that. All right. So we have to activate this Uranus energy and learn how to take that and then reintegrate. So say, for example, you get a download, right? Like I need to start a new business, or I need to break up with this person, or I need to do something, make some drastic major change in my life. Holy shit. Now I know, now I see it, now I get it. Right. But we have to embody it, because it comes into the crown chakra. Then it has to go through our third eye, our throat, our heart, our solar plexus, our sacral, and our root chakra. If we have blockages in any of those areas, it's going to call them out. We have to face those blockages first. There's a journey to this, okay? Then it has to come back up. Now it's gone through this way. Then we ground out the idea or the concept, okay? This is like learning something from a book as opposed to experiencing it, right? The experience comes when you embody it. And in order to embody it, you have to have all the lessons in all the different areas so the energy is moving smoothly. If not, you get all these downloads and it's getting stuck somewhere in here. You'll start having problems in that area of the body. Not only that, the energy comes back up, all right, from the root to the sacral, to the solar plexus, to the heart. A lot of times it'll get stuck in the heart, but the throat, the third eye, and the crown. Once it is fully processed through all the way up and all the way down, then we embody that energy and then we magnetize it into our world. But what happens a lot of times, and I've done this too, okay? I've made every mistake known to the process, I think. That's why I've learned all this, because I've experienced it, and experience is the best teacher, in my opinion, right? Pain is a great teacher too, and usually there's pain through the experience. We're leaving that paradigm as we evolve into this higher vibration. But for right now, this is very, very relevant, especially with this energy right now, okay? The energy comes through, it gets blocked, and the energy comes down, and then we try to make the decision before it processes through, okay? I'll give you a perfect example of that. One of the first ayahuasca ceremonies that I ever did way back in the day, I was with this woman at the time that I was very, very much in love with, and I had a vision, right, that we were going to get married, right? I saw her and I sitting on this mantle, like we were king and queen, and we had a child, and there was like clouds, and it was absolutely bliss. It was heaven on earth, and I was so incredibly infatuated with this chick that I came back from the ceremony and I asked my friend, because I didn't have the money, right? So I asked my friend to borrow $6,000 to buy a ring to put on her finger to marry her, right? I was like, I saw it, I'm gonna do it, let's go. Now I didn't get it. Now we had a lot of problems like with communication. Like we had incredible sex. The sex was absolutely amazing, but we couldn't communicate. It was sort of like a fight or flight thing. Like her and I triggered each other really bad. It made me very insecure and very possessive and controlling, right? I had to face these things of self-worth within myself. So going through this process, I asked her to marry me. I was so nervous. I was shaking. I could barely, and I did it at a friend's convention, actually. It was a pretty beautiful day, but we moved in together, and literally it lasted 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It got so bad, like, because then this put pressure on the both of us. And then it brought up even deeper all these things that we didn't know how to handle or deal with, right? The things that we were triggering each other by. And we drove each other crazy. So after 3 weeks, like, I'm sorry, like, can't do this. So yeah, probably twin flame thing too. Like, but whatever the case is, it was one of my most difficult learned lessons in life. And then after that, you know, I made the decision that, okay, I'm going to step back, because I can't, clearly you and I, we can't just be around each other. It's too intense. It's killing me. I couldn't work. I couldn't sleep. It was horrible. So I made the decision in my mind, I am going to do work on myself. I want to make myself the best version of me I can for you. Now, it should have been for me, but that was the energy I had at the time, because I wanted to prove to it. That was where I was at that time, right? So because it was so deeply embedded in me that I needed to be with this woman. I knew she was the one for me, and I had to. So I spent the next 3 years just obsessively going within and doing all this work. And, you know, I'm grateful that I did, but eventually she contacted me, like, actually the beginning of this year. And I mean, when I got that phone call, I was like, holy shit, is this it? Is this what I've been waiting for? And I got all in my head again. All out there, I thought I worked through all this shit myself. And we met up, and man, like, we tried to talk, and there was just, and at this point, like, I've learned how to communicate. Okay. I know me. I know how to communicate. I'm a very good communicator. I can read people like nobody's business. It's what I've been doing, like, ever since, you know, her and I went our separate ways. And, you know, come to find out, like, she was in a relationship, like, you know, a month or two after we were done. And, you know, and I got a woman pregnant 2 months after too. So I was right there, and, you know, gave me my beautiful baby daughter. But we still had nothing, like, we couldn't communicate. And I was so frustrated. And I actually didn't trust her. I was surprised at I was like, wow, like, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. But it's because I didn't take the time to embody this lesson. However, I will say I learned it, you know, anyways. I had to learn it in my own way. And I had to have that motivation in order to be able to go deep and discover myself. So I see how it all played out now. And it all played out perfect, right? But it made me understand things on a whole new level and really appreciate myself, you know, for the commitment that I had to the process. And I think we all go through something like that at some point in our, you know, in our life, where there's a situation that just breaks your fucking life apart, right? It completely destroys you, but it destroys you to create you. Now, not everybody that has their life fall apart like that. Like, some are worse, some are better. But the point is that life will teach us these lessons, even if we don't necessarily understand this information, but it makes it a lot easier when we understand this information, right? And everybody is understanding this information in one way or another. It may not be a relationship, all right? It may be a job. It may be a vision. It may be a belief. It may be an addiction or attachment to something, right? Do I feel ayahuasca lied to me? Absolutely not. No. So what I came to understand after many, many more ceremonies is that whatever visions you get from working with that medicine, okay, your ego intertwines with it. Me, I have a strong freaking ego, okay? So that ayahuasca showed me what I want, okay? But I didn't realize how afraid of it that I was, and how much insecurity and fear and stuff. So I feel that it actually led me down a fast track process of learning that very difficult lesson and facing myself, so that eventually I will be ready to have sitting on that mantle with my beloved, with my true love, and honoring and respecting and having a great, beautiful relationship, which, you know, I believe will happen in divine time. And that's what everything, that's how it all goes. It's all divine time, especially right now. So he made you feel like a hoe because communication was non-existent. I mean, but he was the catalyst for you feeling that, like that, to bring up that dysfunctional thought within yourself. Does that make sense? The external experiences, or even experiences like ayahuasca and like other plant medicines, they show us things, but then our ego wants to make it into something else. When we want that instant gratification. So it requires maturity to work with these medicines, especially. That's why not everybody can do this. You have to, and it requires integration. It requires that real true, medicine work, which is meditation, which is the mental work, okay, which is going within and seeing how did I invite this situation into my life and why, instead of being a victim, right? Good job, love yourself, 3116. It's these realizations that feel vulnerable, right? Admitting to yourself, I'm realizing I'm not confident and need to allow myself to express my self-love. Well, how do you even do that, right? It's an experience, it's a process, but acknowledging that, saying, fuck, man, okay, it's me, it's always been me, okay? This is where we have to man up, all right? It's up to, right? It's so, it's not our fault that we were traumatized, but it is our responsibility to deal with it and not blame it and project it on everyone else, which, as we see in the world, everybody's doing, and it's a big fucking problem. Okay, we need to take this responsibility and fucking, what's up, karma? Hey, we got karma on here. We got good karma or bad karma. I think that going through this experience is going to give us some really good karma, and I know, at least for me, I'm Capricorn. What's up, spiritual gardener? Going through this is most definitely I'm like, okay, I paid my fucking dues. I've seen it. I got the t-shirt. I don't want to wear it anymore. Like, I've learned I'm not, and I have Saturn conjunct my North Node, which basically means that if I do something that's not so good in line with myself, then it comes back and fucking kicks me really hard in the ass, right? Karma is only a bitch if you are. Okay, I like that, right? Hell yeah. What's up, Layla? Love you too, spiritual gardener. Appreciate you. So let's see. So now that we have, anyways, after that big long rant, now that we have Venus in Sagittarius, Venus in Sagittarius is a much lighter energy. This is like beautiful ideas, beautiful minds, ideas about making money, ideas about making the world a better place, ideas about receiving bigger things, right? And I think that it, later on, of course, it's going to conjunct the South Node. I think that is going to actually bring in really, really beautiful things here in the near future. And of course, with Mercury coming into the Capricorn energy, we're going to see our own shit, okay? So when we see our own shit, this is all about acknowledging what it is, going into that Chiron vulnerable energy, about discovering who I am at the very deep, authentic level of the heart, all the parts of the heart that have been blocked off, that have been defensive or desensitized. It's all weird. Literally any kind of soul fragmentation is coming together right now. That's what this energy is doing. All right. So much shit. Yes, but it's good shit, right? I am very grateful that all this is happening. And there's just so many examples out in the world. Like, you see all these people just blatantly lying or doing things that are unethical and being a hypocrite, and then going saying one thing, doing another, all that shit. We ain't gonna stand for it. All right. Fuck that shit. I ain't stand for it. I have no respect for people and things that do that or say that. So, why, that's just, it's absolutely asinine. So this whole control dynamic is, I feel it's going to go away. Your birthday's tomorrow. Well, you should get a solar return reading with me. That's going to be an interesting fucking year. But then again, everybody that's had a birthday, I say between October and the end of January, is going to have a massive solar return. All right. I'm more honest than anyone I know. I see everyone lie to themselves. Well, this is why you just being honest with yourself is a vibration that will help people see that. You can't get people to see this shit. Just by you being you and expressing a higher vibration, people are curious, I wonder what he has. I wonder what she has. What's going on? I want to talk to them, right? False prophets. Yeah, a lot of false prophets coming out for sure. But a lot of people, it's like false prophets coming out that people immediately fucking calling them out on their shit. All right. Tricky Tiger. All right. Go to my website or just message me on here and I'll give you guidance, but you can click the link in my bio. You can go to my website, spiritualbio.com. Still 40% off for the rest of this week. So, check that out. Definitely jump on it. Okay. So we come into the 17th, December 17th, and we have the moon now in Aquarius. So it's like little by little, the moon comes in Aquarius, Saturn comes in Aquarius. Then, of course, Jupiter's going to come in Aquarius. And then at the end of January, the sun's going to come in Aquarius and Mercury is going to come in Aquarius. So it's like this next month and a half is all shifting into Aquarian energy, which is going to really, at least for the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, It's going to feel like a weight is lifted off our soul. Hallelujah. Yay. Can I get an amen? Amen. So, of course, we're coming in closer to this exact conjunction of the Jupiter and Saturn energy, which is going to, so it was conjunct at 29 degrees, then it moves together over into Aquarius. So then it's gonna activate or like infuse the Aquarian energy with this new motivation. It's gonna feel like a new life, like a new start. Okay, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be like we went through the shit, and now it's like, you know, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Woo, yeah. So on the 18th, the sun will be at the galactic center, conjunct Mercury. It was very powerful because as this shift is happening, you know, the galactic center represents the very center core of all of us at like the collective. So there's going to be some kind of major shift happening here. Okay. Exactly. Win the lottery is just a feeling inside, baby. Let's get it. So the 19th, they're both the sun and Mercury again. They're conjunct basically from the 27 degree of Sagittarius, and they're going to be following each other into Capricorn. So we're also evolving from the energy of Sagittarius into the energy of Capricorn, bringing this higher vibration of Capricorn, right? So, yeah, here we go. So, of course, on the 19th, now Jupiter moves into Aquarius at 0 degrees. Right. So now their energies are done, fucking done with Capricorn. Thank God. We learned the lesson. We've processed it. Now it's all good. We come in the 21st and we have the Jupiter Saturn conjunction. Exact. So really that's just like hitting like an apex or a pinnacle. But, you know, this is where like now the energy is going to start to separate, disperse. But I will say Jupiter is going to quickly be coming into that square with Uranus, which is better than the Saturn Uranus square, but it's almost gonna bring up like this new mission, right? And Uranus is gonna be retrograde until the beginning of January. So it's like this mission is we're gonna feel it in our body, but again, it's gonna be this next layer of I'm not really quite sure what we gotta do yet, but I'm feeling this big like we gotta move forward, we gotta go, we gotta make it happen. Once Uranus goes direct. That is gonna be like boom, like a slingshot, right? Once Pluto leaves Cap, we feel like new humans. Can't believe it's been Cap since 2008. Yeah, that's gonna be like the real new level of the Aquarian energy, which we're all gonna be like. I feel like the Jupiter Saturn is kind of bringing like the bulk of the energy, but Pluto is the undertone, the underneath. Which don't forget, okay, Uranian energy. I mean, Aquarian energy is also very revolutionary, and with the Saturn and Uranus conjunction, the more that we have worked on this control dynamic, going into our vulnerability and accessing the Uranus energy within ourselves, the more that we're going to be able to work with all the shit that they're going to be throwing at us in the future, because essentially it's going to be a battle between the control and the revolution or the expansion. All right. The better we have a grip on that within ourselves, the less control they have over us. Does that make sense? Because we've activated both these. So we see through the bullshit. We're going to see through everybody's bullshit. The people that have done the work and the people that are, because the other people, okay, that are not doing the work, unfortunately, they're going to get completely locked in to this Saturnian energy. They're going to be, their control dynamics are going to get 10 times worse. They're fear-based. They're going to be trying to spread fear because they believe that it's protecting. All this, like, I got to spread fear to protect you for your safety, right? Fuck out of here with that shit. I don't think so, okay? And I'm not falling for it, and neither should you, all right? Because look, expansion and growth and control or safety, it's like there's safety and there's growth. You can't have growth when you want to be safe, and you can't be safe and want to have growth. You can have one or the other. It's like you can be either creative or competitive. Okay, there's creativity, which is growth oriented. Then there's competitiveness, which is control oriented. All right, fear, love, boom. It's all the same. All right, so that's where we learn how to work with this energy in a flow state. That's the work for the rest of this year. Okay, learning how to not take other shit on, because essentially we let go and we get vulnerable. We're able to feel the energies coming from outside and even within a lot more sensitively, right? So we can feel when someone is just energetically, sending fear-based shit our way. And when we have healthy boundaries, which we have to look at our shit and be vulnerable to do that, we feel that fear-based energy and we're like, nope, this is my line. You do not fucking cross that shit. When before would be like, I feel bad, so maybe, yeah, or yes, I don't want to conflict. No. Yeah, we don't want conflict out here because we don't want to face a conflict within. Okay? It all correlates. It all is the same shit. So next year, the ones of us that have done this work are going to rise to the top, and we're going to be challenged. It's going to get bigger and more intense, but as long as we're in integrity with our heart, we're not doing anything that's like, illegal or stupid or, against our own heart's judgment and will, this where like the whole Tupac thing, only God can judge me. That's what it is. And when you live by that, by your own ethics and morals, then nobody can fuck with you, okay? But when you do, your light gets lighter and people are gonna start trying to throw their shit after you more. And that's why we need a good, solid support system. So remember that, okay? This is all fits into one big, beautiful fucking package with a bow tie on it, right? I just realized about myself and I say no more. Good. A lot of people are having these realizations and standing the ground, and it's like we've already been through so much shit. Like it's you're like numb to the bullshit. Like, okay, you go play your fucking game somewhere else. I'm not fucking playing with you. All right, we ain't having that shit here. But also like this time, like there are some people that are in more complex situations, than others, and it is the holidays. Holidays. This is just maximum getting hit from all over the place. It's very deep and it's very difficult. Okay, but as we're going we all know it's like we have people on the other side just waiting, to like pull us up. Like, all right, good job, man, you did it, right? So that's good. And then by the 21st, when we have this now on the 21st, the Mars and Pluto square will be exactly at the same time as the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which makes it 10 times more intense. And the moon will be conjunct Chiron. So again, this week is going out with a bang, dude. And of course, the sun will be at 0 degrees of Capricorn. So happy birthday to all you Cappies out there. Welcome to your season. All right, yay. So man, what a week this is going to be. And of course, we still have Neptune at 18 degrees, the nodes at 19 degrees. That's just going to stay there for a while. And as long as that placement is there, I don't think that we're going to see any real truth in the media. I don't think we're going to see really any kind of, everything's going to be so just delusioned. There's just massive illusion and delusion everywhere. So, just keep that in mind and, disconnect every now and then to just listen to your heart. All right. And if you need support, find a friend, connect with me in the opportunity community, make sure that you reach out. Don't isolate yourself right now, because isolating yourself, unless you need time to integrate or to do your thing, on your own, then that's okay. But isolation, I'm really not feeling good and I need some help. That's also like the other side of the coin. Reach out for support, reach out for help, get some guidance on some things you may not understand. It's communication. All right. The more you communicate and you may get some feedback that helps you to see what the fuck's going on. All right. So thank you guys all so much. I just pulled up my my YouTube here and I got 40 people here. All right. Things are coming up there. I got about 27, 30 people here on Instagram, man. Shit's just going on. All right. Love it. I'm feeling you guys' energy, man. Feeling the love. Here's a good question. Do antidepressants suppress Kundalini energy? And the answer is yes, they can. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't have a Kundalini activation, but it blocks your heart chakra. It literally suppresses your creative energy, and it doesn't allow your brain to get into theta state. Okay, so that's the big problem with that shit. Love you too, Trinity. So yeah, if anything, I would recommend doing something natural, like maybe some you know, I think cannabis is legal, or, you know, like there's many different mushroom blends out there that will really help to activate and stimulate serotonin, as opposed to blocking off certain kinds of serotonin and just screwing it all up. That's just not a good idea. You want something that's going to activate the good stuff and leave the other stuff alone. Also, nutrition and of course sleep is going to be really important. But even going through these activations, man, sleep can be all over the place. So spiders and snakes. The moon was going over my north node and Neptune place. So spiders, it depends on your emotional connection to them, but they can be either very benevolent or very maleficent. Snakes is usually Kundalini energy, right? Working out definitely helps for sure. My doctor says I have central sensitivity syndrome. I feel everything. Well, that's just a word to put on saying you're an empath. Okay. I mean, and that could also mean that you have heavy metal poisoning, which a lot of people do these days for all this shit, and you know, from the fucking, you know, all the stuff that we put in our body. So you may want to get a heavy metal test on to check that out. That's just like saying you have fibromyalgia. It's bullshit. Your central nervous system is hypersensitive because there's something getting in the way of it, right? All these labels that they try to put on us in the Western medical world, especially in psychology, because it's basically all theoretical. All right. All these labels really, they make you compartmentalize yourself. You end up looking at a part of yourself. You say, okay, this is a part that's broken. And I understand that from like an obsolete, you know, viewpoint, if you're trying to deal with the symptom. But the shamanic way that people look at it is like, okay, we need to look at everything that's going on and be honest, be vulnerable, Chiron energy. Okay, you have to look at your Chiron energy and accept it and allow that to teach you, because that part of yourself is actually where your gift is. Okay, so all these different syndromes like depression, you know, personality disorders, you know, bipolar, all this crap, dissociative identity disorder, they're all just ways to identify the part of you that is out of balance. But when you want to bring yourself back into balance, if you take that approach, you're essentially creating a bigger gap in your consciousness because you're not accepting that part of yourself. You're saying it's wrong and you suppress it, right? So you accept it, you go into the work, you feel the pain, you feel the vulnerability, you allow it to teach you, and that is where the gift is now. And then, of course, there are things and ways that you can do to help to process all these energies, because they can be incredibly difficult to face and go into, right? But that's okay. How do you activate Kundalini energy? So do you see that fear spreading? There's some good questions in here. Okay. So do you see that fear spreading in the spiritual community too? There's always fear everywhere. Okay. Because as we go through this process, you know, through this journey, you're going to have people facing their own things, and a lot of people. But the good thing, like at least in the community that I, you know, represent, shout out to the Super Homie Squad too. My girl Maru, she just popped in my head because she's been a huge teacher of mine, and dear friend too. When you hear somebody talking like that in these communities, you call them out of love, of course. But I have deep conversations like this every day of my life. This is why I talk about it all the time, right? So everybody that I'm around, people can't come around me if they're not willing to talk about this shit. I blast it right out of them. That's just how I am now. I've just created this, you know, archetype within me. So, yeah, there's always going to be fear, but the important thing is to surround yourself with people that will call you out in your shit so that you'll grow, right? So that's okay. So how do you activate Kundalini energy? Well, you can activate it through sex, or, you know, doing like sexual rituals. You can activate it through yoga, Kundalini yoga. Sometimes you just activate it through massive trauma. Like if you're in a really shitty spot, you know, it may just happen. Like I know for me, like my first Kundalini activation was when I was in Iraq, right? I had no fucking idea what it was, but I hadn't cried in like my entire adult life. Even I don't even really remember crying when I was a kid. And suddenly when I was 30, I just it all came out. 30 years of crying, I didn't stop crying for hours. I couldn't stop, wouldn't stop. I had fucking snot run down my nose. And I was in Iraq, and I was talking to the chaplain about like, why the fuck am I in this position? What's going on? It was a really, really rough time. So really anything can activate it. The more aware you are of it, you can work with it, right? So when you go into it and you start to work with it, you start to learn how it gets activated and where and why, and you start to be able to like actually control that part, which is part of the shifting of the Saturnian energy into the Uranian energy, right? So at first when it happens, it's going to be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's just, it's overwhelming, like crazy fucking pains in your body and your head. And, you know, then the work is learning how to work with that Kundalini energy. Okay. Just listen to your guides or your higher self. 100%. Exactly. That is essentially your heart energy. Right. So I'm going to see if there's any, birthday is Thursday. Fucking A. Yeah, I know, right? I'm a Capricorn talking about all this shit. How ironic. My natal Saturn and Uranus are conjunct the galactic center. That's powerful. Shit. Venus can be a freak. Venus is a freak. But, well, the real freak, Venus is like a closet freak. The real freak is Black Moon Lilith. And when they, you know, when you work with those energies, then it can get fun, right? But you have to make sure that, like, you're not being like the dysfunctional freak, right? You want to be the functional freak, which is using sacred sexuality, which I think is something that is really coming into this new place. Because, you know, if you have someone, and you shouldn't be having sex with anybody that you can't be vulnerable with, first of all, right? But if you find someone that you can actually be vulnerable with and share these vulnerabilities, 12th house, Black Moon Lilith, you're a freak. You're definitely a fucking freak. You can just fuck all day long. Man, that's a great fucking placement. I'm jealous. So what the hell was I just saying? Oh, yes, sacred sexuality. So you find someone that you can be really vulnerable with, right? And when you're in that vulnerable state, like choose experiences that allow you both to enjoy the process and not necessarily just, you know, insert penis in vagina, pump 20 fucking times, and then you're done. Like that shouldn't even be the goal. The goal should be just to, you know, feel the energy and enjoy the process. Like look in each other's eyes and just enjoy the experience, you know, explore each other's bodies, right? Like it's not just about the orgasm, right? It's about learning how to be in the process. And that way, when you do orgasm, it's 10 times more intense, let me tell you, right? So, Black Moon Lilith in 8th house and everybody's talking about Black Moon Lilith now. Black Moon Lilith in 8th house and Black Moon Lilith in a 12th house. You two, like 8th house is more BDSM and like just being like, yeah, let's fuck, right? But, and then that takes you to be like, oh, okay, let's do it. But wait, okay, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's get a little, you know, sensual, right? The 12th house is just like, you're just walking around naked all day and you could be in the kitchen cooking breakfast and then your partner just comes up and just, you know, having fun. Then you stop, then you just chill out for a little while and make out, do a little bit of oral and, you know, come back, watch a movie, then fuck again, then just back and forth, just fucking, you know, exploring each other all day long. And hey, don't get me, I fucking absolutely love doing that, but you gotta be with the right person. Like that can't be with everybody. So just make sure that, you know, you're in with the right person. And if it feels right, then let it feel right. You know what I mean? Let it go in. But if it feels like you're forcing something, or if you can feel that other person is like getting attached or something, you can be like, okay, I gotta do the right thing here. Even though like I would love to just lay here and, you know, let you please me for an hour. I know that there's going to be some expectation. And so this is where reading the energy of that sexual energy is very important too. Right? Slapjacks. You guys are a fucking riot. All right, guys. So, Venus and Leo in the 5th house. Good shit. All right. That's a good position to have. All right. Safe to say the energy here is lit. 100%. And I fucking appreciate you guys so much for supporting me. And please feel free to share this, like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, send it out to your people. Let everybody know too about the 40% off for my astrology readings. They're going to be going on until the 21st, the end of this week. Fuck, I got another Lilith at 12th house, huh? All right. Now Lilith and Pisces in the 12th house is the ultimate freak. That's like Lilith and Pisces is like that's just you're just like, you want to find that special somebody so you can just be a fucking porn star. That's where it's at right there. But, you know, you got to have balance. You got to learn how to channel that energy. And am I at 69 minutes? This shit is real, guys. I love it. Yeah. All right. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And yeah, get a reading for me. Let's go. And I love you guys very much. Please like, share, and all that good stuff. I will, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how everything plays out this week. It's going to be so big, so intense, you know, connect. Okay. I'd love all you guys to join me on the Opportunity Community Call this Friday, if you can, at 1 p.m. Pacific. You know, check it out, join us, and see what we're all about. All right. I hope you guys got a laugh like I did, because we definitely need that kind of energy right now. And on that note, I love you all, and I'll see you on the next report.